Silicone seed starting pots are a new thing for gardeners who like to start by growing their own seed. I have always used terracotta, really old school. I've had considerably better results with them than I ever have with plastic seed starting trays. But this year I thought I would try the new silicone pots. They are very, very flexible, even a little bit floppy. They come in a 2-pack, so you get 12 cells. Compared to the plastic options, they're a little bit expensive, but they should be reusable for many years. And the capacity of each cell is only about 2/3 to 3/4 of what I'm used to working with my 3-inch pots. For several months now, I've done a side-by-side comparison of the performance of the terracotta pots versus the Sili-seedlings pots. My normal way of working is to use a big tray like this one, place the starting medium in it, and keep a shallow amount of water and a humidity dome on the whole setup so that it waters itself. So that is what was done for all of the experiments, no matter how I actually started the seeds. And I do that 3 ways. Some of them are direct sown into wet potting medium and just pressed in, as these are. Sometimes I use pre-prepared purchased soil plugs. That's especially true for the longer-lived larger plants. Some seeds were first broadcast into shallow trays and then moved into the silly pots. That third category is moved into the silly pots after they get their first set of true leaves. This is the tool I like to use to move them, but an old butter knife will also work. These are chia seeds, which is a complete and total experiment. They are the kind you buy to eat, and I wanted to see what I would get if I tried starting the seeds. Chia is a kind of salvia, and it turns out it's very beautiful. When you start from seeds that you bought to eat, you don't really know what the characteristics of the adult plant are. I knew that it could be really large, and boy, it's a lot larger than I expected. But they've done equally well in both potting methods. This year I've been unable to buy potting soil, so what I've done is sifted my own compost, and everything gets transplanted into that, whichever kind of pot it receives. These were so delicate that I started with barely moist compost and watered it in, as you see. And here it is, only a few days later. Both potting systems produced wonderful results. I can't spot a consistent difference in performance between the two. Here are some of the plugs going into the cells. You do have to go all the way to the bottom of the cells. I'm using the larger plugs that are available, and they fill up the entire height. And then I have to fill in carefully around them with soil. So it's a little bit finicky, but on the other hand, you never have to disturb the roots. And in fact, they have also performed beautifully in spite of that depth being already taken up. The direct sown seeds don't have to be moved at all. Either thin them if you end up with too many successful sprouts, or move them to the garden when the time comes. Smaller seeds I just press into wet soil. Larger seeds I poke down just a little bit. So scientific, I know, but it works great. The silicone pots are producing a nice, healthy, well-distributed root system. The plants are growing at a good pace. I should tell you that they're grown in a passive greenhouse. It's connected to the house, so it's very sheltered on one side, but it has no heat other than the sun. It's very early spring yet here, so very few plants have actually been set outdoors, but those that have made the transition just fine, and those that were potted on are looking wonderful too. Just for fun, here's a look at the chia starting to bloom already indoors. Bottom line, I think these pots are a good thing. I've had 0 disease problems, no damping off. Performance rivals the terracotta pots. These fit more neatly into the bottom trays than do terracotta pots, and they store more neatly. They are not, however, as rigid, so they really do need the support of a tray beneath them. And as mentioned, each cell is a little bit smaller than the 3-inch pots I've tended to work with. So the necessity to transplant may come a little bit sooner. I like them so well that I have ordered another batch already, and now they're all in use.